We're going to start with breaking news. The United States has asked Pakistan to close all terrorist safe havens and target all militant groups, including those that target neighboring countries, after India made a strong pitch at the UN for isolating nations who nurture, peddle and export terror. White House Deputy Spokesperson Mark Toner has said that our focus with Pakistan is to enhance their capability and to deal with terrorist threats on their soil.
The threat that terrorism poses both domestically for Pakistan, but also the fact that there are terrorist groups on that seek refuge or asylum or shelter in Pakistan's territory. Very clear that they need to target all militant groups, including those that target Pakistan's neighbors, and close all safe havens.
The stern warning that has been issued to Pakistan by Deputy Spokesperson of the White House, Mark Toner, comes right after Secretary of State John Kerry had issued a similarly direct warning straight to Prime Minister of Pakistan, Nawaz Sharif. The big question is, with such a numerous number of warnings that have been issued directly to Pakistan, will Pakistan actually listen, or will these warnings once again simply be frittered away? This time the circumstances are different. Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif happens to be cornered by a multi-barrel offensive by the Modi government and has been embarrassed and pretty much cornered on a world stage by both the Indian government as well as several revelations about Pakistan's terror camps run in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, especially here on India Today. The big question now is, will things actually be any different with one more warning being issued directly to Pakistan by Washington DC? Shiv Arur in Washington DC for India Today.
Maha Siddiqui now joins us live on that story. Maha, as someone who has been covering the External Affairs Ministry for long now, have you seen any change in the attitude of America? Because earlier, as far as the US was concerned, there was always a hyphenation of India and Pakistan. In the recent years, especially with the new government in India, has that changed or altered at all?
Well, it really hasn't altered much, but the warning to Pakistan are coming in much faster and much quicker now. That is true, because we have just seen John Kerry, when he was in New Delhi, saying the same thing, that Pakistan must act at a greater pace to dismantle the terror infrastructure that exists on its soil. The warning has come directly, this time again from Mark Toner. But let's remember one thing, Padmaja, if you ever read or hear the entire statement made by any representative in the United States, on the one hand, a warning is issued out saying that safe havens, terror sanctuaries should be dismantled. On the other hand, US also tacitly admits that at least Pakistan is doing something. So that really doesn't work in favor of India, because on the one hand, if you admit and if you tacitly even, laud Pakistan for the action it's taking, which seems very little at the moment, especially to a country like India, from where Pakistan has constantly been attacking, it really does seem that, US is also playing a balancing game at this point. On the one hand, trying to appease India by saying things like terror sanctuaries should be dismantled. On the other hand, also not forgetting that Pakistan is very crucial to them and is their ally against terrorism.
Oh, absolutely. But, in the recent past, even after the Uri attack, far from heeding the advice given to it by the international community, the US being only the latest one, we've heard reports about how these terror camps, instead of being dismantled by Pakistan, have been moved out to more secure locations. How does the NEA react to that, Maha?
Well, absolutely. That is a very startling and shocking information that does exist with the Indian intelligence, that at least 17 terror camps were moved out after Pakistan felt, or the Pakistan army at least felt, that there was a real possibility of targeted strikes. And what is even more shocking is the audacity of the Pakistan army in shifting some of these camps into the safer areas of their own camps. Pakistani army camps providing shelter to some of the terror camps. They have been shifted ahead of Muzaffarabad and Manshera. So clearly this information does exist with the intelligence agencies. As far as the MEA is concerned, these are the points that are constantly being highlighted as India tries to put diplomatic pressure on Pakistan and tries to isolate it at the international level by reiterating the point that Pakistan has not stuck to its its commitments made in 2004 that it will not allow its soil to be used for terrorism, that terror sanctuaries exist there. This is something India has been highlighting, and the information that 17 terror camps have been moved out to safer places is something India will be using at the international level to highlight Pakistan's
And the beginning was
complicity.
already made behind, in fact, at the UNGA, and it was bolstered by what our External Affairs Minister said yesterday. Thanks very much for joining us, because it was a very effortless performance by the External Affairs Minister when she spoke at the UNGA and said that nations that foster and peddle terror should be isolated, and at the same time, back home, there is an effort on by the government also to ensure that the screws are turned on Pakistan. Here's how.
It's time for Pakistan to pay the price, literally. After a review of the Indus Water Treaty, Modi Sarkar is now considering a new mega economic counter, putting Pakistan's most favoured nation tag under scanner. Rewriting the rules of engagement, India is slowly cornering Pakistan. The centre is now ready to wage an economic war against Pakistan, with the Prime Minister set to chair a meeting on Thursday to review the MFN status that Pakistan was given 20 years ago.
इकोनॉमी ये ऐसे एस्पेक्ट हैं जो देश को मजबूत करते हैं निश्चित रूप से, लेकिन देश की सुरक्षा और देश की अखंडता एजेंडा में सर्वप्रथम रहेगी, सर्वोच्च रहेगी.
All right, also here's what we are getting to know from our sources, that after water, it's now the MFN trade which is under review. The Pakistan was given the most favored nation status in 1996 by India under the WTO treaty, which is under review. So Indo-Pak trade standing at $2.6 billion in 2015-16. Now it will be under review. So this means that from trade point of view, there won't be much hurt on India if you look at it, because most of the trade is informal. But India's export to Pakistan stands as $2.2 billion. But from Pakistan, we import fruits, we import vegetables, textiles, chemicals, cement. So it's been an important trading partner, not on the top of the list for India, but sending out a greater message that how Pakistan's most favored nation status cannot stand at all. That means the MFN status to Pakistan granted under WTO in 1996, 2 decades back, is under review now, and it will be a significant message that India will be giving to Pakistan that it's not business as usual.
This is one move where the government has opposition support.
We have some concerns about trade. Now, if we want to give up those concerns, because there is a higher priority of putting pressure on them and making them see reason, then perhaps it's something that we can try.
All of the steps that implies, including cancelling and repealing the MFN status that this country has given Pakistan in 1996, which Pakistan did not reciprocate till date. We must repeal the MFN status.
Even the Indian industry is fully backing the possible trade sanctions against Pakistan. Dropping these trade ties with Pakistan prepares ground for India to urge economic partners to impose sanctions on Pakistan, to pull the plug on funds being used by Pakistan to finance terrorists. Bureau Report, India Today.